Sustainability has been defined as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. And there are a few keywords which are very important: present, future, and the concept of meeting our needs. And often when we talk about sustainability, we think of environmental sustainability, which is one aspect very important, of course. Then environmental sustainability can be defined as living well within the planetary boundaries, so without taking more than what the Earth can give us. But there is also two other pillars to sustainability: society and economics. So the Sustainable Development Goals are 17 targets set by the United Nations member states in 2015 that give basically a guideline toward what, as a mankind, we want to achieve. Some of these targets concern the environment, some of them concern the society, and some of them are about economics. So for instance, for the society, we have the target of no poverty, no hunger, also equality between men and women. So there are these 17 targets, and they can be visualized as a wedding cake. The first layer, the basis layer, basically, is the environment, because that's where we evolve. We need water, we need food, we need lands to grow our food. And then only within this environment, society can thrive. And then we have the layer of society, which would be the second layer on top of the layer of the environment, with the SDGs that I referred to, no poverty, for instance. And then we would have the last layer of the cake, which would be the economics. And so this visualization carrying the message that the first layer is the most important. It is the environment in which we evolve. And we see from this nice representation that if we take a part of the basis layer, then the whole cake would collapse. And so that's a way also to see sustainability as three pillars, but of different importance. I think my awareness journey regarding the climate crisis started in 2021. And I really felt the need to understand what was going on. So I started to read about it through, for instance, the IPCC reports, to listen to podcasts, watch documentaries. And the thing is that once you know the extent of the crisis, it's very hard to bear. So I found that really taking action was the best remedy against fear or despair. And so I started actually in 2022 to join the Climate Fresk NGO, which is an NGO with an educational purpose. Because for me, I do believe in education to make a change, of course. And then I started to question my sphere of influence, because I'm a PhD student in astronomy. So I have the scientific background. But I think what we have as astronomers is also this unique vision of the Earth. We know how fragile it is. We know how beautiful it is. And we know that there is no planet B so far. Then I joined Astronomers for Planet Earth, which is a grassroots movement aiming to inform about the climate crisis and to use also our position as astronomers, as I said, to inform and to carry out the message of the fragility and beauty of the Earth. And I really found that being part of a community, whether it's the Climate Fresk or this grassroots movement of astronomers, was very powerful. And then in 2023, I started to give a few seminars at the Department of Astrophysics of the University of Vienna. And I got the opportunity, as part of the new curriculum for master and bachelor students, to offer an elective course, which I decided to title Sustainability in Academia. And I think this course, for me, the main objective was to make it interdisciplinary, highly interactive, and really tailored to students, because that's something that we miss in astronomy. We don't have this link with what is going on on the Earth, actually. I wanted the course to be well-structured, but flexible. So well-structured because I think that's the key to guide students towards their learning journey. And flexible because the topic is the way we perceive climate change depends on our background, depends on our education, and on our experience also on the daily life. So I really wanted to tailor the course to the type of audience that I had. So basically what I did is I started with a fact that academia is not sustainable because, for instance, as researchers, we are if not forced, we are highly encouraged to travel more, publish more, work more with this idea, the dream of getting a permanent position, which most of the time is just a dream, unfortunately. So this was the fact. And then I started to question, okay, why is academia not sustainable? So for instance, for these reasons, but there are more. But what can we do, actually? And what is also our role as academics and the role of academia itself in tackling the climate crisis that we are facing today? So from these questions, this fact and these questions, I designed a learning objective. I think the end goal of the course was really to empower students into taking action. And to do so, I wanted them to, of course, understand the climate crisis, understand the leverage, the actions that were feasible, but also to be able to defend a position and to make compromise, to really be able to discuss an issue. Because these are skills that I think we need then to bring in the real world. I wanted the course also to be highly interactive. One thing that I would always start the course with was with a quiz, because that's a good way to really make students feel committed to the course from the beginning. So I would either recap the topic of the past lecture using this quiz or introduce the topic of the lecture of the day. This worked actually very well. Then there was, of course, a lot of discussions and small debate. So I would give them a question or a topic, and they would team up by 2 or 3. And then we would have discussions with the whole class after they made their smaller discussion. This was also very important because of one of the learning objectives, which was to be able to defend a position. And it worked very well. So the thing is that during the first semester, I taught my course during 2 semesters. The first semester was only for students registered at the Department of Astrophysics and in person only. But then, because I got very nice feedback, I decided to extend to basically any student interested and to make it hybrid, because also I received some emails from students that were, for instance, in a field trip outside of Vienna, and they were very motivated. So I thought that it would be a pity if they are excluded because of in-person only format. So the course has evolved, and so I've evolved the teaching method. But this small group discussion, something that worked very well in the hybrid setup, because of course it's very different only in person and with hybrid. We want both online students and in-person students to feel that they can talk the same way and interact in the same way. So I used a tool which can be useful actually for other teachers maybe, which is called Padlet. It's an interface or an application through which students can write post-it, answer questions. They can also vote or don't vote, another comment. And this was very nice to spark the discussion. It worked very well. And then I also made a conscious effort to always keep a link with what was going on in the news. So for instance, I taught the course in the winter semester 2023. It was at the same time of the COP28, so the Conference of Parties, which took place in Dubai that year, which is one of the biggest climate meetings happening yearly. So throughout the course, we talked a lot about what was at stake there. And I decided to invite, after discussion with the students, 2 activists. And one of them actually took part in the COP28 in Dubai to represent the Climate Fresk NGO. And he joined us online, and he gave nice insight into what are these type of meetings, are they useful, what is the feeling as an insider. And this was very nice. Like the discussion with the student was very, very natural. And I think they took away a lot of positive things, because often in STEM disciplines, we tend to miss this link with something hands-on, something taking place outside of university, outside of the course. My type of assessment was more on the discussion, not on hands-on exercises. And we had a final project that we also built up together as a part of the course, which was to have a final Model United Nations debate, which is very different from usual type of debate where one would be for a topic or against a topic. In the Model United Nations setup, it's students have to reach a compromise. So they have to agree on how to solution a specific question, a specific problem. And this worked very well also because I think one of the message behind this course is that we need interdisciplinarity and we need collaboration, cooperation to solve the crisis. And so it was very, I think, important that this final assessment was also matching the objective of the course. I think overall this highly interactive format worked very well because students really felt concerned and they felt that they could speak up all the time. So I got very positive feedback on the quizzes, on the discussions, on the hybrid format also, because I tried to really use tools that worked for this specific format. And overall, I saw really an improvement also so I asked at the end of each semester, of course, satisfaction, an overall satisfaction for students on the course. And the first semester it was around 8.5 out of 10. And the second semester was close to 10 out of 10 because I really took into account the feedback from the first semester students to try to improve the course, which worked. And I think something that was very rewarding was that at the end of the course, I got a few messages, few emails by students who wanted my opinion or my help on projects that they wanted to carry out on the topic of sustainability. And this was exactly the purpose of my course, to make them empowered, to empower them into taking action. And it was very nice to see that it actually worked and that they are now empowered and willing to make a difference in the world. I think another important point was that I made a conscious effort of making the environment safe for them to speak up. Because, as I said, the climate crisis is triggering a lot of emotions. Sometimes it's hard, and we don't feel the same way. Everyone feels different emotion, but it's important to acknowledge them, to take them into account, and then to take action from them. So to do that, I tried myself to be vulnerable as much as possible with them, which sometimes is hard in a position of teacher. But doing this really, I think, broke the wall between me and them. And this worked pretty well. I got also nice feedback on the course atmosphere, and they most of the time felt very safe to speak. I think something also important to notice that didn't work was when I would ask them closed questions, like yes or no question. For instance, in this group discussion, once I asked them, do you think that research team should be given a carbon budget? And the discussion that arose from this was a bit hard to carry because I think it's good to ask yes or no question because it forces them to actually think and have an opinion. But the discussions were way more fruitful when they had space for creativity. Then they would come up with some solutions that I would have never thought of. And this is really great to see that if we give this mental space to people to think about some things, to think about the problem, they can actually come up with a good solution. So this was really nice. Yeah, I think that would be great if other teachers also want to take this topic of sustainability and implement it. I know it's not that easy sometimes to find the connection between our field and the topic of sustainability. And also we, as academics, we lack of time, of mental space to ask ourselves these questions. But I think that's because academia is not sustainable, and that's why we actually need more courses on this topic, because academia needs to evolve with the challenges that we are facing in the world. So I think a good thing is always to talk to each other as teachers, maybe through teaching conversations, for instance, or through anything else, like lunch discussion with colleagues, because sometimes for us, because we are in our discipline, it's hard to see the connection, but just by talking with each other, we can come up with a joint course or with some project. I think the link is often there. We just need to make it happen. Yeah.